Welcome back, everybody, to Quake Pro League. This is week 3 of season 4. I'm 40 Lions, joined by the one and only Lethal and the legend DJ Wheat, and we are going to have our second featured matchup of the day, and it is going to be VengeurR and Maxter. Wheat, I will start with you. Tell me a little something about how you feel about this one.
Great. VengeurR right now 2-0. He's currently in the number 2 spot, but as we've talked about right early on, that a lot of weeks still to play out. We got a chance to interview VengeurR one of the weeks. He was also in a featured matchup, and you know, kind of similar to Razy, starting to get up, putting those reps in, understanding what he really needs to focus and work on in this season. You know, but VengeurR's one of those that for the last 3 or 2 seasons we've looked at and was like, the potential is all there, right? Will this be his season? It's still yet to be seen, but I think he's up against probably a very, very worthy opponent. Also ranked number 13, but with a 1-0 win. That's Maxter. Now, Maxter's close last season was remarkable, right? We were all like, Maxter, you improved so much, like a lot happening. I think he was really happy with his performance. So he's another one, right? The stack of amazing players who have that potential to have their breakthrough season, and Maxter is one of those people in line to do just that.
No, I totally agree, because when I think of Quake Gymnast, these two are like up there, like they're in my top 2 in terms of that department. And Maxter it's incredible how well he's performed compared to the very beginning of when he first started into the Quake Pro League coming up to now. And can you imagine this guy with, like, you know, a pro level dueling experience? When I say pro level, I mean like 10 years of experience. Like, my God, he's a tough nut to crack already, but the fact that he's playing this well only like 2 or 3 years in is just remarkable in itself. And even VengeurR, like, he's a prodigy and always has been. That's why he won the QuakeCon previous to the last one. And these two, it's very exciting to see how their future holds going forward. But for these two going at each other this early on, very exciting.
Yeah, and I mean, needless to say, I think it's not controversial to say that Maxter has the best posture I've ever seen in my life, let alone the Quake Pro League.
+5 to all accuracies.
I'm just saying, absolutely insane. But let's take a look at the map breakdown here in the champ pool that we will see between these two players. It's going to start off with a deep embrace, Wheat, a little bit of Molten Falls, and then we're going to end it on Blood Covenant. Lethal, I'll let you take the champions one last time.
Cheers, mate. Cheers, mate. The fact that, oh my God, the Athena
But last time, as in, this is it, Lethal. Never again. Like, you're never gonna just let
I'm
you
done.
know.
I'm not doing any more weeks. I've had enough. Yeah. I'm done. I'm through. And we're going to see a different matchup this time of Molten Falls. We talked about Deep Embrace. I think that's going to be an explosive start with both of them abusing any kind of verticality and the speed and agility there. Interesting to see how that will pan out from the get-go. Molten Falls, we have the Nyx versus the Galena matchup. We've seen a lot of interest in Molten Falls picks previously. We've seen a few Eisens in the past. We've had Scale banned quite a lot from Molten Falls, but Scale has been made available, but just not been selected. So that's going to be interesting in itself. And for Blood Covenant, of course, with the Athena not showing up, Slash bans on the first map, and even the Visor being banned, those are the 3 go-to kind of picks you normally see on Blood Covenant. But, you know, we've got the middle of the pack here, so a pretty standard Ranger versus Doom. Not really too much to tell in terms of the mobility, which of course the Doom has, going back and forward to try and catch their opponents and throw off some of those audio cues, and the Ranger with the orb and the damage as well to get himself out of a sticky situation. So yeah, very interesting in itself, and you can see, and it's also quite surprising, it's not often you witness, you know, 3 of the best champions or the most used champions going into Blood Covenant, taken out towards the final map being on Blood Covenant.
Yeah, Blood Covenant is like the Groundhog Day match, right? So with the Ranger or the with Doom, it's like whichever player wins, that's what game Bethesda's going to release next. Is it going to be a new Quake title? Is it going to be a new Doom title?
Don't get people excited. Wait, they'll quote you and it'll be a whole mess.
By the way, that is not endorsed by Bethesda. I mean, this is just my speculation, right?
All right, so if I had to ask both of you for your predictions without trying to look at chat and let that sway you, what do you think?
Well, do you know what? I think after what Wheat just said, we're going to see like 99% VengeurR, like on the 3rd map. We know that. Absolutely certainty. But I have no idea. I'd probably say VengeurR this time around. It's like we mentioned before, when it's this early on in the Pro League and they're not up that tippity top kind of shape yet with their practice and their grind, it's very hard to really dictate what can happen. But I'm going to side with VengeurR, but the smallest of edges possible. I'm going to say a 2-1 VengeurR.
Yeah, I'll agree. I'll agree with that. I mean, I think that I'm excited with either one of these players kind of winning. I think for Maxter, it means, okay, the breakthrough is beginning. For VengeurR, it's like, okay, this is kind of what we expect here. But I think this has to be a close matchup based off of what I feel like both these players are bringing to the table. So I still say 2-0, or excuse me, 2-1 for VengeurR, but could see it swing. Would not be surprised.
Well, let's take a look at what chat thinks about at least map number 1. 53% now climbing to 54% in favor of VengeurR for Deep Embrace, at least to start.
Pretty split.
Pretty split, pretty even. That's kind of what I think. That's why I think it could be 2-1, but I won't say who. I feel like it can go either way, and I'd be absolutely flabbergasted if it went 3-0 to either player. But I'm going to go and let the adults handle this one. This is a big boy game. I'm going to go sit down. You guys enjoy it and have a good one. I'll see you in a bit.
Excellent.
See you in a bit.
Timeout. We call that timeout, 40 Lions. So enjoy your timeout. Lethal, what's up, man? First cast of the season. Good to see you again. Been having fun?
Yeah, have been, mate. You know, can't complain so far. Of course, first week back, and it's nice to see everyone again, see how they've been performing so far. And the fact that we've got this matchup is just ridiculous in itself. You know, I was talking about, you know, them being Quake gymnasts, but I kind of feel like with these two, on a slightly serious note as well, they are probably two of the, or some of the most creative players that we've seen in the Quake Pro League as well. We know that players like Razy, Rafa, we kind of can comprehend exactly what they're going to do in terms of their mindset, in terms of their strategic value. But these two are so creative and they're so fast at exactly what they want to do and what they want to predict and what we have to try and comprehend. It could be a very explosive start. We could be seeing this first map just kind of teetering around the edge a bit to see what exactly they're going to be coming up with. It's really difficult to call, but I think I can understand why you agreed. Well, we both made the exact same prediction because it's very difficult to see exactly how things are going to go, especially in this first map on Deep Embrace. We've seen the verticality with what VengeurR can bring to the table with the Athena and the pass against Razy. He is just absolutely ridiculous. The peak is going to be a massive issue as well, but with the Athena, you can get away with that. Only 2 grapples this time instead of 3. So, yeah, a lot to take in there. We'll have to see exactly what VengeurR can bring against Maxter.
Yeah,
definitely not someone who's going to be easy pickings.
I do think this map is definitely a wild card, right? Just smallest map we've got in the pool. Well, let's just let the game speak for itself as we are finally kicking things off here as VengeurR is going to get a spawn over by the heavy and the rail. Going to be very happy with that. Puts him up in a nice position to control that middle. Is going to not land 2 very nice rails there after a grapple too to gain some more momentum. Maxter already in a position of needing to be very, very careful within rail range. There looks a little bit better now. The shotgun does come out. Peeker as well. Immediately dispatched, and I like what I'm seeing so far.
Oh, and that rail through the murder hole. That's one way to start things off and to boost that momentum ever so slightly. But yeah, he's just barely missing any rails. And of course, VengeurR just denying Max that rail now, of course. But if there's any player in this league you want to keep that rail away from, it is definitely Maxter. Some of the stuff he can do with those drive-bys just makes it look easy. Too easy, so to speak. But the LG coming out from Maxter there. Some good damage, but of course, VengeurR trying to lay back some damage himself, and the last couple of shots have been missed. He's backing away again, but Grapple can go back into position. A good 91 hits the rail straight afterwards, looking to try and rotate back around. May prioritise this Mega, but we'll see so far. And looks like, of course, with the heavy taken earlier, VengeurR's in prime position to grab it, but the problem is he's already taken so much damage here. Will he about to take him? Yes, he does, and he abused that pillar, the map geometry to no end.
I mean, a tough decision there for Maxter. He did hit that beautiful shot before VengeurR was going into the Mega Room. It makes sense why he did what he did, but VengeurR played that one nice, stopping short by that pillar and then just getting the damage that he needed to get done. So nice little lead there early on. You know, like kind of how Maxter's approaching this was another great rocket, but VengeurR, he seems to be very comfortable, regardless of having 2 grapples versus 3, using a lot for momentum to close that gap and also to gain better positioning here in the middle of the map, and that seems to be working out quite nicely for him so far.
He has done indeed. Sprinkle of damage. Oh, that 68 is going to be massive for him, and VengeurR not available anymore, but has picked up the heavy in that bubble previously. Oh, straight through his legs. Hate to see it, but Looks like Vengeur's getting straight the hell out of there. But the problem is Maxter still on his toes, as if he managed to hit that through the murder hole once again. Vengeur's still able to stay alive. Bubbles is going to save his bacon for now. Wait and see what read or what info he can find before continuing any kind of engagement. Still looking for some of those lights if he can. Looks like it's going to be prioritising that heavy, which is perfectly understandable. 3 minutes in. Vengeur's still with that 2-0 lead, but I kind of feel like Maxter is slowly starting to stabilise. Not anymore, I don't think, considering that little push coming up from Maxter. That last rocket almost took him down, but Vengeur's have to back away once again.
Yeah, I mean, some great rails coming out here by VengeurR, and I think that's really his saving grace and why he's got the lead here in this matchup. What a nice grapple, kind of staying outside of the vision of Maxter there and safely getting back up to the top. He's really not had much problem in terms of control. Going to let a few extra seconds tick there on that heavy before he lands yet another rail, and he is pretty consistently sitting with a better stack. Obviously not every single time, but in most cases, I'd say that he's solidly got control.
Look at the hit percentages, 50% for VengeurR, 37 for Maxter. Maxter's only fired 8 shots, but this is due to VengeurR's game plan. He knows to keep the bloke away from the rail. We know that it's one of his biggest parts of his game plan. We know that he's very volatile with his aim skill and what he can really bring in terms of some of the ridiculous shots he can hit. But it's not even really just that. It's just the way he has to play. He has to really use his combat skills from short to medium range with the weapons he has in his arsenal. But VengeurR just continuing to do so much work. Currently 3-0, 4 minutes in, and great first round to keep him at bay.
Yeah, and there's been a couple of shots, Lethal, that you can see. Like, we just got a chance to look through Maxter's POV there for a little bit. And there were a few rails that, man, if those would have hit, we would have seen that first frag rally come out for Maxter. But he's just a few pixels off in some of that accuracy, and that's where VengeurR is picking up that slack and why he's got those 3 frags. So, you know, Maxter kind of whatever calibrations or recalibrations are needed to kind of get that pinpoint accuracy would be super helpful here. He's still continuing to try to put the pressure on to VengeurR here, and he's doing a good job as it's very, very low. He's got to be careful, but VengeurR, once again, feeling pretty comfortable, is able to re-get his stack pretty easily there. There's the pickup, and now looking for those rails again. They've been nasty from the side. Comes up the stairs and set LG in hand. Does he have enough to clean this one up? Peeker's going to come out. Wow, no damage from that one. And the rails not coming out for either of them, so Maxter will manage to get away.
I've noticed with VengeurR as well, he doesn't really stay around the heavy platform too often when he's contesting it. It seems to be constantly just above and below, just constantly changing his positioning, not being too predictable. As you know, most players will stand in the position he's currently in or on the heavy itself to a few rockets or tri-bolts and then try and clean up the rail. But it's good to see that VengeurR just make himself as difficult to predict and to kill as possible. But the LG comes up for both players there. VengeurR's at a slight disadvantage. He hits the rail, but Maxter comes up with the heavy machine gun. 17 HP. Heavy's up in the next 5 seconds, but let's see who goes for what and where. Could be a influence agreement for either item. Is going to be up, and VengeurR able to pick that with ease, no problem there. VengeurR still was on that recovery process, but fully stacked, fully capable of continuing its engagement. Hits the first rail, and that with his peeker will find him and will know his exact position. That was beautiful.
I mean, this 2 frags here, there's a crucial moment, right? Because we saw VengeurR hit that jump pad. Maxter had LG out, got the damage that he needed. If he wouldn't have gotten that frag, it would have been real bad news. But he got it, allowed him to get a conversion frag, now only down by 1. Will steal away that heavy, but needs to be very, very careful. He's going to go in for it anyway. 3 points of health. You're a madman, Maxter. And he still manages to get it to tie the game back up. There's some health. Going to maybe even pick up another conversion frag. VengeurR ready for it. Will take a bunch of peeker damage, and now that mega is up, and Maxter all of a sudden turning up the heat.
So if he hit a 4 with the shotty and the only needed was an 8, just absolutely typical there, as VengeurR does get away. Still in prime position to pick up that heavy. Maxter trying to get away as fast as humanly possible, but no light to greet him here, so he's having to once again. And look, his VengeurR's already of course, to try and get this full frag. Just trying to keep him away from both those lights. But then again, Maxter did a huge amount of damage before Venger cleaned him up. So, great start. He's so crucial in that first rail.
I mean, even though he got him that low, right, Venger did the right thing. Put himself in the middle, give himself an opportunity to hit a rail, and it didn't matter. He was going to be safe after that as he hits an air rocket into the rail there for frag number 5, and suddenly we're about to hit that 2-minute warning. It's, you know, still big hill here for Maxter to climb. It's about a frag a minute, and Venger's doing a great job with his overall control. I still think his accuracy's definitely showcasing a little bit better here than Maxter.
Certainly is, and just continuing to deny that rail as well earlier on gave him a huge boost into this matchup, and even contesting that heavy earlier on with the 98 from underneath and then the direct from underneath is very unfortunate there for Maxter. But Maxter knows exactly where he is. He's got the info. He's going to back away anyway because he knows the Mega's going to be up in the next couple of seconds. He doesn't know that Mega's just going to be sticking around. Heavy will be coming up in the next 5 seconds. Use that you can see what you can find, what you can get. Not too much, but it's going to rocket jump up straight away. But he does get Heavy, or trying to. But look at the amount of damage he had to consume before even being able to grab that, as Venger's not available as of yet. But that rail would have been so important towards that 6th frag. They could try and get a bit more done there. The LG comes out here for Maxter. Maxter trying to dive on forward, but the 82 isn't going to help him at all in the slightest. But the problem is he needs to start being overly aggressive. He needs to take some risks. I said before that these two going to be some of the creative players in the league, and we're going to see a lot more of that during these dying moments on Deep Embrace.
Yeah, the final minute is upon us, and still a 2-frag lead here for Venger. I think his use of the grapple here is definitely worth noting. A lot of grapples just for quick momentum to grab some positioning, to try to, you know, get a drop on his opponent. Quick dispatch of Peeker there. Venger still low, but comfortable where he's at. Actually gets nailed with a shot. There we see the grapple come out yet again for some more positioning on the chase, but needs to be careful if he can get to that 950. Should be in a good shape. There's Maxter with the shotgun. He's going to let the spawn timer run out. He spawns right on the weapons. So much for being quiet, but he's going to go up to the top, and that rail misses. And he still manages to win it by 1, 5-4. Probably that spawn is not the one that Venger would have wanted to try to ensure the victory. Maxter did his best for it, but it's still a very close game. 5-4 going to Venger.
Yeah, 578 more damage in favor of Venger. 16 items for Venger compared to the 19 of Maxter, so to speak. Hit percentages weren't the best, but then again, you know, the way those two were playing and some of the angles they were just really giving each other any angles of opportunity, were they? It was just unbelievable. Some of the shots they were hitting, like this first one into the murder hole, was just unbelievable. It's a rarity in itself, but it's a real treat to watch when you get to see it. And Venger, yeah, you saw at the ends, not after he died, but the spawn previous before that when he was in the shotgun. He had to stay at that angle, not just to waste time, but he didn't have any grapples left, so he couldn't exactly get himself out of a bad situation.
God, that frag with Peeker on the corner into the shotgun was pretty sick. And it is amazing. I mean, you think about some of these low health engagements that they had, like that one right there. You know, critical, right? You are needing to make a lot of decisions in a very short amount of time, and each one could result in your death. But both of them doing a good job in the grand scheme of things. Still Venger just clinching that one extra frag to take it, and yeah, a little bit more damage in the grand scheme of things. Peeker, you know, Peeker actually contributed, right? Did some things. Not saying that Peeker doesn't normally, but definitely Athena's grapple still remaining pretty powerful there on Deep Embrace from a positioning perspective. From a momentum perspective, there was one in particular grapple that was up there on that middle area as he grappled over to that light, and then also gave himself open shots against Maxter. That kind of play, I really, really dig, Lethal. I think it just goes to show that the power of that champion, despite the fact that, you know, a little bit like a wet Kleenex in terms of damage that can be taken, but, you know, it worked out for him.
Yeah, it certainly did. And I think Venger had the most damage with the rockets, 1,373. It probably wasn't, but I kind of feel like the majority of it was just from the defensive purposes, just getting such great reads with those rockets, just reading him and just trying to keep his distance away. It's the amount of damage he did with those rockets, especially through the heavy from down below, ridiculous stuff, and just, again, just trying to keep his distance away from Max is just unreal. But I feel like this time around it's going to be a little bit slower than what we're normally used to. The Nyx versus the Galena matchup. We know that, of course, for Wenger is going to have to be very proactive, clean up the totems. But I'd love to know what you think, because both of these players are going to be absolutely on it for those hourglasses. And I think it may change their paths and the routes they're going to take for some of these items, just trying to be as consumption as possible.
I think the frustrating thing for Maxter here is going to be the get out of jail free card for Wenger, right? Like, I mean, I'm not going to assume that Wenger's only going to ghost walk in a defensive position, because he's absolutely a player that will use it to sneak in and try to gain position. This is going to happen a lot around heavy, a lot around the mega. But I generally tend to think that if you can protect your totems, like have some good placement, maybe set up a trap or two, yeah, I feel like you should have the advantage. But I like the Nyx pick here for Wenger. Really curious to see, is this just going to be my, save me card, or is he going to be trying to do something a little cheeky, which I'm okay with too. But I agree, it probably a little bit slower game. But we'll see, right? The players set the pace. This is just what we're speculating.
Yeah, speculating indeed. The first map, was a close affair in itself. And yeah, he's got like a jail free card. He may use it aggressively to go for some of his items, or take Maxter down. We'll have to see. As I don't think I've seen Wenger playing Nyx quite a lot. Normally I'm used to him using those champions with a fair amount of mobility, or to give him an edge one way or another, depending on the map itself. But let's see what he's going to do here. As I do expect a much slower start, apart from when they try and get their weapons in their arsenal. But we're going to start off on Venger's POV. As Maxter lost his first map of the season. Neither player before the series even begun has actually lost a map in its entirety, even though Wenger's actually only played 2 matches and Max has played 1 match. So I don't know. It's not really saying too much, but yeah, we'll have to see. 40 seconds in, and Wenger just chilling, waiting for the hip. And
he grabs it up to the middle. Both players respecting right now one another. Not really moving in, but this is exactly, I think, the type of pacing of a game that could cause Wenger to say, "All right, I'm gonna try to set up an aggressive position here using Ghost Walk." So far, hasn't happened. As they're gonna battle here at the middle. Wenger knows exactly where his opponent is, seeing that rocket coming from the side. And 1 minute down, things have stayed pretty quiet. Oh, nice rail coming from the back. Wenger's like, all right, I see what you got. Grab that heavy, and I think I think you expect this pacing until one of them lands a nice rail and the chase begins.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel at the moment. I did know it was going to be very slow, even with these two players who are really agile in a lot of ways. You can see Wenger really struggling here to try and contest this heavy. As with that shotgun position, it's extremely difficult for Wenger to try and get an angle one way or another, even with rockets or rail. He just has to hope that Maxter drops down without not really getting too much damage onto Wenger. Let's see if Wenger's gonna try and Maxter's gonna be raining down a few rockets. Lets him have it, but you got to remember, even if Maxter doesn't get it, he doesn't mind. He can just go straight for the mega, which he has done now. And there's only 5 seconds in between the both, but finally the first engagement's going to happen. Ghostwalk comes out, runs straight into the totem, which is going to give Maxter the indicator that he's still lurking around shotgun. It's not normally something you see quite often.
Yeah, that was actually a nice throwdown there by Maxter, right? Kind of giving himself some more information about Wenger. And Wenger looked a little surprised even popping out of that Ghost Walk, right? Got some LG damage, and Maxter's still very low, but seemed like that could have been played out a little bit better for Wenger, and possibly could have even gotten first blood. Another totem is dispatched, and Wenger now still against Maxter here with a 0-0 lead, and a completely different game than what we saw in game 1. Lethal.
Yeah, the fact that we've got no frags in the last 3 minutes, well, at the start of this matchup. But with the Nyx versus Galena matchup, I'm not too surprised, but finally we might get our first frag here. The pin on Wenger pops that Ghost Walker's trying to get away, but Careful. He's looking to go for his health bubbles. And yeah, he's going to Ghost Walk straight out of there. I'm surprised that one of them wasn't going to get fragged, but I kind of felt like if Venger starts losing that LG battle or it's just too close, he'll just pop it and just get straight out of there, which is exactly what he done.
I'll tell you what, it's like I don't have a grapple, so I'll just like quick shoot myself over here with that rocket jump. Risky for sure, but managed to pull it off. Still surprised we haven't seen. There's a great rail from VengeurR. Will that open up an opportunity? And it looks like no, right? Even though they're playing a more mid-long range game, the single rail is not necessarily opening up the perfect opportunity for these two. And I think, again, that comes down to the respect that they have for one another and how they know that first frag is going to be monumental here in this matchup. So VengeurR now, though, sitting with a very, very nice thick stack and is definitely in the best position the entire game now to potentially go in there. He turns around the fall away rail for the hit, and then he grabs that mega. Is going to make his way over to the heavy and be in a great position here to contest it, and Maxter's not even going to try.
Maxter's actually got the overstack now, but he's trying to hold the rail area and above LG now and again as well, just to try and keep him off the trail for where these totems are. As soon as he gets a few more up, he'll be fine. He won't be worrying too much about that. When he hits the first rail, and Maxter decides to whip out the tribot, switching over to the rail once again. But this is the... Oh, actually, another rail comes... Oh, just barely missed that one. He wouldn't have been taken down, but he would have been on the... correct path to try and clean up Maxter and get this first flag. Still 0-0 at the moment. VengeurR does get heavy. And with that overstack, of course, Maxter will be looking to go for these heavies. But as I say that, the totems have been cleaned up. And Maxter still has 2 left on the map.
Yeah, I was hoping that after that heavy pickup, VengeurR would go over to the other side of the map near the rail and pick up those totems. And he did exactly that. Maxter was ready for that. He knew exactly where VengeurR was. So drops him down in other locations. But VengeurR hadn't visited that little alley recently, so that was causing a little bit of an issue. But we're still 5 minutes in, 0-0. I could realistically seeing this be a 1-0 game, right? The way these two are playing, the way that they're kind of approaching it. Hold on, VengeurR's going to go down for it, sees an opportunity. He's got his opponent back there where there is some health to be able to pull out of that, and the mega is up, but rails exchanged by both, and VengeurR comes out the more hurt of the two. Will pick up that heavy, and now there is a rail there as some bubbles as well. And again, 0-0, but Maxter getting a nice opening there.
And I like that from VengeurR as well. He decided not to pop the Ghost Walk as he went through the TP, knowing that whilst Max is going for the Mega, he'll have about 5 seconds just to try and get away and be able to save that Ghost Walk for another opportune moment. If we missed this rail, and funny enough, we were talking about the Quran versus Tox matchup at Quake in last August, and that went to 20 minutes and 40 seconds on Blood Covenant, and it was 0-0. So I'm not saying this has potential, but depending on how Maxter plays this out, if VengeurR has the advantage, of course, he's going to go straight in. If not, then VengeurR can just keep popping his Ghost Walks and just be frustrating as hell.
And that's where I think... right, Maxter doesn't want this to go into an overtime situation like that, because I would say that Ghost Walk is probably the better advantage to have in that overtime. But to be argued, right? It also could just come down to who makes the first mistake, because believe it or not, I think both of these players, I'm not going to say have played perfectly, but haven't made a mistake that's allowed their opponent to capitalize. Some rails and nice shots from VengeurR have been hit, but that could be the deciding factor here of this game. We've got 2.5 minutes left. The Mega is up. A few seconds behind that, we're going to have the Heavy. And they're going to be so close to one another. There was about a 7-second separation earlier on, but now they are right on cue with one another. And who's going to get that first frag?
Oh, it could be happening now. Oh, no, never mind. See, we're just teasing it at the moment as Maxter still... And that totem is back as his overstack once again. And Max is just doing a good job just trying to throw away the sense of some of these totems, but obviously it's not an easy job considering you have to give up some of these angles at times to go and get positional advantage for these items. But yeah, Vengeur's see if he can try and push it up, but no, exactly where each other are. A minute 40 left remaining, still nothing to go by. But again, Wenger looking for that chip damage at some stage, considering the stack he has to deal with. And he knows that Maxter, with the overstack that he currently has, he's going to be prioritizing the heavy more than ever. Yeah,
that was unfortunate for Wenger that he kind of gave Maxter that opportunity. Oh, there's a great rocket rail combo, opening things up, allow him maybe to get that mega, but instead he's going to go over to heavy. I like this decision. He's going to rocket jump back up, see if maybe he can cut off his opponent. And oh, that would have been a beautiful rocket. The LGs come out, and oh my God, in the rail. But the rail returned by Wenger so much there. I think if that rocket would have hit up against the wall on the exit for Wenger, that would have been a Maxter frag. We talked about mistakes. That might have been it. Wenger up 1-0, 40 seconds left to go.
You know what? We've been waiting for that first frag. With the entirety of it, and the fact that it exploded like that, I'm glad.
Yeah.
One-sided. Wenger does have the ghost walk. Radiant fits. It does mean Max only has about 10 or 15 seconds to try and take him out now. Before he pops it. It's trying to be as aggressive as possible. He's trying to catch up to him, but Wenger just not giving him any kind of hope or chance here. He can just literally pop it in those last 5 seconds and just guarantee victory. But Maxter made the wrong call in terms of the perfect one to take, and that is going to be GG, as if Wenger took it in that fashion. I
mean, a 1-0 game that comes down to the frag in the last 90 seconds. And I'm like replaying that, and we will inevitably see it in the very short match highlight that we'll probably get. But, you know, it was a great read from Maxter. He saw his opponent, was able to pick up that heavy, rocket jump up to the top, a drop down to get position on Wenger. That was perfect. That was very, very nice positioning from Maxter. What he didn't hit was that exit of Wenger from that room into that teleporter. And I think even Wenger was kind of surprised as then suddenly the LG came out, right? And he just decided to turn on cyborg mode, and that was it. So we'll take a look one more time. This is from Wenger's point of view. That rocket would have been devastating, but wow, now you see it. That rail hit. He had 4 points of health and still landed the rail. Like, how amazing that one exchange essentially determined the winner of that matchup.
As if he ended it like that as well. The problem was, just going through the stats quickly, there wasn't really too much damage to discuss because they were trying to just catch each other off, setting each other traps, a lot of mind games, which is probably why you don't see quite a lot. And everything we can say is to 45% and 43% LG and Rails respectively coming up from Wenger. The problem Maxter had in that Galena Nyx matchup was the fact that if they were short or medium range, Maxter can only do so much. He would have to win every single battle, knowing that he wasn't going to get the frag. And it happened every single time because the map's so big. And of course, Wenger picking up the hourglasses every second of the day when he had the chance. Always had that ghost walk in his back pocket. The only thing Maxter could do is, if he had a totem ready to use, it can drop it to get an additional 50 and continue the fight. But he wasn't ever going to win those fights.
Yeah, I mean, there was also, if that rocket would have hit, I'm sure Ghostwalk would have come out, and then it would have been kind of a 50-50 on whether Maxter would have made the right decision on where his opponent might spawn back in. So it's still a great match. I mean, it's definitely one of those. I was like looking at chat. There's still a few people that are like, this match is so boring. I don't know what to do with myself. And it's like, no, that's not how you look at these matches. You know, you look at right, just how playing defensive with your shots, with your movement, with your positioning. It might not be as exciting as like being in your face and shooting rockets at each other and all the time. I love that too, but you really have to appreciate just how meticulous each of those players has to be and how tense it is when it is 0-0 and there's a minute left and only one frag is going to separate it. Like that's wild. I think we need those types of matches every once in a while.
Yeah, in Quake, we've got that nice mixture, haven't we? You know, we get those points where you get those super high octane matches where everyone loves, but maybe not everyone likes those kind of matches. The fact that it's only one frag that whole game, it builds the tension leading to that one frag.
Yeah.
And it was spectacular. You couldn't ask for a better way to end it.
You know, it's funny because, like, people will say the same thing about, say, UFC battles, right? Like, yeah, sure, people love to watch people get knocked out all the time, right? But every once in a while, you're going to have a match where for the, 8 rounds, they're just going to grapple on the ground for a little bit. And there is appreciate to that skills as well. So it's a new map, though. Here's Maxter's chance to bring it back. Blood Covenant, Ranger versus Doom. What game's getting made next? Take it away.
And his perspective, we're going to be kicking things off here. As we did for the majority of it anyway, because there wasn't any other frags to switch from. But heavily delayed, also mega heavily delayed, rather. Let's see how both players are going to try and contest this. Nice fake out from Venger, but does Maxter fall for it? No, he does not. Just walking directly underneath. He's probably making the assumption, but has gone for that mega, but good amount of damage coming out from Maxter with the LG, and that was a spectacular amount of damage considering the angle and the approach he had to try and grab from there is reliable. Hopefully he'll get to the gets to the heavy in time, but then again, Venger could still get finished up here with the Evan Sheikah. Just a couple of shots will do it, and Maxter gets that first frag. He's been waiting over 10 minutes for that week.
He has. You're absolutely right. That's a little wild to think about. And Machine Gun going to be the MVP here of this matchup so far, but Maxter's got to be careful. He finally picks up a little bit more health. Probably happy to be on the board, just like you said. And 1 minute in here on good old DM6. And, I'm just kind of laughing here as still the debate continues in chat, but I'm just like, listen, if you sat through the era of Quake 3 ZTN, like, just don't even talk about what boring is. I don't want to hear it at all. Anyway, Maxter now, no stack at all, but up by 1. It is the Ranger Doom matchup, which is like not normally what we would see in terms of champs on this, but when it's played last and other picks go out, this is kind of what you what we're getting here. So nice rail coming out from Venger, but Maxter's still in a good spot.
You just reminded me how much I don't miss ZTN at all in the slightest. It's okay, but I think nowadays I would only be able to deal with it in small doses. Maxter, though, left on 97 HP, still continuing to run on a bit of pressure. Heavy machine gun. I mean about the mobility with that boom. Just running corners back and forth from the light towards the rockets. Heavy is up. So is the mega. And Venger, very important. 2 rails back to back. Oh, that third.
Wow.
Could have been the change of air week, could have tied things up entirely.
I actually thought that wasn't a double jump, that was actually the rails hitting. You know how like sometimes you get sort of stuck in air for a moment there?
Yeah,
And I'm sure Maxter's very happy that also wasn't a rail and was his double jump, but nicely done there as he manages to avoid that with 2 great rails coming out from Venger. And that's clearly one of his strategies that he's got here. I think it's the right one versus Doom, is to hit those long range shots. Maxter's been over in that pocket of the mega for a while, so I could see Venger's like, hey, if I hit these rails on entrance or exit, it's going to set me up for that first frag, and that's kind of what he's going for. Picks up that heavy. Maxter looking to see if he's got an opportunity to do some damage here. A rocket jump up to the top, and now they're playing chess again.
Certainly have to. Of course, without Slash, Athena, Visor, none of those champions in the mix to kind of secure or finish off some of these frags. This is what you're going to get, and you've got champions very standard in terms of ability. Oh, okay. A bit of flair as we go for the mega. I think Venger must be getting bored a little bit there. He's trying to get this first frag to his name, but it seems like another hit's going to happen, but Max is going to get the heavy just in time. 4 minutes in their week, currently 1-0 for Maxter.
Yeah. That was, for those that may not have seen that, there's a rocket jump over the entire columns of DM6 to take that mega, and Maxter didn't know until he heard the pickup maybe And not a whole lot he could do there, but there he's got the mega pickup again. And there's a nice rail. Okay, all right. Now he's opening it up. Very, very good. Immediately going to berserk and get in there. Another nice rail. All right, these are the rails that I think everyone was expecting Maxter to be hitting there in those early games. It seems like wherever he was, those rails are warmed up now. This is a good place to be, and for those that are adhering to that 2-1 prediction are probably sitting in a good spot right now.
Certainly is indeed. Oh, Mr. Crucial Rail there.
He did have 100% rail, yes, Chad, by the way. He did. 6 shots, 6 hits. Yeah.
Now pushing across, gets a little bit of tri-bot damage there. Knows exactly what Venger's going to be up to, but does deny him that crucial heavy, and now he's going to be on the warpath once again. Venger looking to try and get away. Maybe try and contest this Mega without any rail damage. He hasn't hit any rails as of yet, so this is looking extremely good now. Switching to the heavy machine gun. We know what that strafe pattern's like weak when some of these players use that heavy machine gun. Could be a little bit different. Good first rocket coming up from Maxter, but is it going to be enough? No, it will not. Venger coming in hot with that LG.
Yeah, that was
as well.
I think that makes sense, right? I mean, he's like, well, these double rails aren't really doing much. Went in very heavy with the LG, and then used the orb not as a kill mechanism, but just for positioning. It worked out well, and Venger's on the board now, and only 1 frag separating these two. We got still half of a game left here, just under half a game. And things are definitely, the tables have turned here. Now Venger hitting a few more of those rails, a 43% rail right now, but he's looking like he's got a much better stack overall, waiting for that heavy to pop up. And it's going to hit any moment. There it is.
Look at the stats so far, just 152 damage between the two. Venger with that slight advantage. Pickups 10 for Venger, 12 for Maxter. Hit percentages 58% from Maxter so far. Unbelievable. Continue on forward. Venger, the orb, all the weapons in his arsenal, just biding his time. Wait to see what Max is going to be up to going for the TP. He's going to let him have that mega because Venger's going to be able to get the heavy and have time to try and pursue this mega if he can. But Max has got a bit of a feeling that Venger's going to rotate around and go for it. He was actually expecting to go from the rocket side or go for the usual jump up.
Oh no!
On the heavy, hits the rail, it's the second, but he's just picked up the mega, misses the third. Oh, great shot there from Venger as well. Now going to be looking to try and tie things up. Rocket jumps through straight into the portal.
What a recovery, though.
Gets away. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, after getting hit by 2 rails, grabbing the life preserver, aka mega health at that point, and then answering back with 2 rails, that had frag potential right there. Great job by Maxter, kind of keeping it out of the hands of Venger, but oh my gosh, the failed orb to the side, the rocket jump, and Maxter capitalizes. We talked about mistakes during that second game of Molten, and so far that's been 2 frags where it's been a Venger mistake that Maxter has capitalized on. So nicely done by Maxter.
Yeah, he was trying to pixel peek around that corner to try and get the orb up without getting railed by Maxter. In the end, you know, these things can happen. It's by the tiniest of margins as well. Max just rotated all the way back around. Got a great angle here. Try and add a 4th to the tally, but he's already picked up the mega, but he's still got a bigger stack. So let's see. Oh, he even had the read as well at one stage, but just a little bit impatient there. He's waiting for Venger. But it doesn't matter though. Heavy's up in the next couple of seconds. All Maxter needs to do now, just keep these artisans in check, keep his distance, and he should be able to take this 3rd map with ease.
Yeah, he really should. This is his moment. This 2-1 is just coming to life right now. As what can Venger do? He's looking to potentially stack up before going in. He really does need to win that frag and then be able to convert off this. And we're gonna have an LG battle as a jump back over to the rail, and Venger doesn't waver at all. Just a great exchange. He now is in a position where he's trying to chase down that last frag. He's very low, but he knows he's got nothing to lose. He's got to just go for it. Makes the jump over the side. The rail hits the top, and then
nice.
1-2 rockets. And Venger does manage to get it, tying us back up with 1 minute left to go.
Oh, he's going to be able to find him again. Hits the LG and the rail back to back. leaving Maxter so vulnerable at this point. Waiting for the heavy.
Stopwatch.
Worrying thing for Maxter is the fact that Wenger, not only has he picked up the heavy with his huge stack, this orb is going to be coming up any second now. So either distract him, do the damage, you know it, or just to try and catch up to him. And this is looking very worrying now. Maxter is trying to back away. He knows that he needs to do a bit of chip before making any kind of engagement, at least a couple rails. As all that happens, could be seen quite a long sudden death. Could be a very short one. We'll even get to a sudden death. No, we will not. That was so good. Coming up from Wenger.
God.
What a way to end that. Down 3-1 on a map like Blood Covenant and manages to turn up by 1 frag. Unfortunate there for Maxter, but it looks like Wenger going to end this 3-0 against Maxter. That's a feat in itself.
I mean, we should bring 40 back. I'd love to hear his thoughts. I'm surprised Wenger won that after the capitalization that Maxter had on a few of the strikes. 40, your thoughts?
I'm starting to think that I just should never say anything about, oh, I would be flabbergasted if, and because it always happens now. I didn't expect a 3-0. That's a hell of a comeback on map number 3 by Wenger. Chess match through and through for maps 2 and 3. Really close. I don't know. I mean, that's a testament to this guy's a previous champion. He knows how to stay composed, but it's also kind of heartbreaking if you're a Maxter fan because it's just like you were so close. But what a display by Wenger.
Yeah, it certainly was indeed. I think we had everything we wanted in that matchup. It was, you know, the first game, high octane, a lot of mind games, some great plays, some incredible shots. Of course, the second one being that, okay, it was a massive game like chess, but building that tension for that one final frag, we were not left disappointed at all. And with this map, we had a bit of a mixture, didn't we? Both of them trying to find their footing at the very beginning. Maxter, of course, showing off his style with the rail, and even though Wenger made those couple of mistakes earlier on with the one with the trying to achieve that mega with the orb, and there was another instance as well, Wenger still managed to come back in fair play to him. It's not easy to come back against someone like Maxter, who's able to try and get away with this, and this was so crucial, this one frag to change everything and then continue controlling the items, and of course finish up that last map. Incredible stuff there from Wenger, as you can see.
I saw Effortless in chat said, you know, a new Quake confirmed. So there we go. This is only my words. DJ Wheat is only my words. This is not an official statement on any level. That was just a groundhog match. Congratulations to Wenger. You did it. You did it.
The tweets are flooding in, aren't they?
They are. I
they will
guarantee
be shortly.
you, John Hill is going to be like, man, what are you doing?
You're done.
But look at the discrepancies of the scores. We take a look at the recap from the set. Absolutely nail biting all the way through.
Yeah.
It was incredible.
Games. Yep, across the board.
We got the full package, literally. Can't complain about it.
Not at all. We are, I think, going to work on getting Wenger in here eventually, but yeah, hell of a set, man. Hell of a set. Again, if you're a Maxter fan, that breaks your heart. 2-1 was looking like what it was going to be, but Wenger had a little something else to say about it. Again, showing the display of being a previous champion, looking very, very strong this season, tacking on another victory. So he's 3-0 for this season thus far. That's sitting pretty, looking good. And just, I'm blown away by the ability to, within a whole day of Quake Pro League, have your blowouts, your chess matches, all of it, as you guys covered already. We get a little bit of everything, and that's what makes Quake so great, because you never know how the map is going to break down until you're in it.
What a concept, 40.
I know, it's weird.
It's crazy. Are you saying that, like, you might watch one game and it could be slow and calculated and end up 1-0, and then you could watch another game where there would be a lot of action, like maybe based off of the size of the map and the different weapon loadouts that are available? Are you telling me? Is this what you're saying? Because that's insane.
I haven't fully understood it, but I think the person with the higher score wins. That's the pattern that I'm sensing with these games, Wheat. And I'll do some research, and I'll get back on the desk here in 7 or 8 months after I go to therapy for what you just did to me. But yeah, and then I'll confirm that I think the higher score does win. I do think we have Wenger, though, so let's bring him in so you don't shellac me anymore verbally, because it hurts.
That was not a shellacking for you. That was more a slow, fast Quake match slacking, but whatever.
Sure, it still hurts. Wenger, congratulations. Welcome. How are you?
Thank you. Stressed, but I'm doing good. Thank you.
Stressed? But blessed.
Yeah.
Relieved. You sure relieved's not the right word for you, mate?
I don't know. Do you want to start? I don't have a question, really. I'm still putting ointment on from what Wheat did.
Go on, I'll throw one out there. I'll throw one out there. So, Venger, congrats, 3-0. Like, unbelievable stuff. A lot of us thought you were just going to barely edge it, but, you know, you proved us wrong, as always. Going into that second map of Molten Falls, what was your game plan and what did you actually expect before the match started? Because I kind of felt like with that Nyx versus Galena matchup, if you're in any kind of short or medium range fight, you can just get the hell out of it and you just won't have an issue, even if you have a bad fight or take a bad fight by any means, shape or form. But of course, with Maxter, he had to win every single one of those. Even if he doesn't get the frag, he may have the 50 HP in his back pocket, sure, with the tournament, fine. But did you feel like you had quite a bit of an edge considering that at some point in this matchup, if it takes 5, 10, 11 minutes to get that first frag, that opportunity will eventually come because of that kind of instance?
Well, first of all, it completely played out differently compared to practice. Like, I had a very high scores in practice. But, you know, when there is something on the line, you kind of try to play a bit more safe. With Maxter, you know, you really can't give him really edges, like angles to pick from, because it's just going to hit 100% with the rail. So my game plan was to try, split the control a little bit, and try to get the heavy as much as possible. So even if he has totems, I can still fight very well. But yeah, that fight was could have gone either way. I mean, all the maps, to be honest. I think with Max, it's always been like this. Like, we have really close series. Sometimes he wins, sometimes I do. So yeah, overall, I think that the Nyx Ghostwalk get out of jail card played well for me. Could have taken more risk compared to him.
Yeah. Venger, I want to ask you about Game 3, right? Since I'm being, I guess, savage today, I'm going to be a little savage, right? I think at your best, you tend to not make a lot of mistakes. And I think that you made some mistakes, especially over by Mega, right? Like, how do you feel about that game? What was your kind of assessment of how you did? And, I mean, did you think that there was a moment that you were not going to win that game?
I think I need to play more defrag, probably. Other than that, I was a bit confused that I didn't actually throw the orb properly there, and I really got disappointed not to play. But I still know that, like, even if I don't get the kill there, if I lose the kill, like, 2 frags is still doable with the Ranger, you know, like, because you have way more mobility, the passive is way more powerful. So I just knew that I just needed to get like one good rail opening, and then I could push and get the 3-2 frag. Other than that, like, I got a bit lucky with also the response. He didn't have many weapons when I killed him, so it was a bit of a mess for him, I will say. Very unlucky.
Yeah.
Venger, congratulations once again. Hell of a comeback on map number 3. I'm going to ask a little bit something different. So we had the first challengers, which you covered with Zeneku. Garpy was able to punch his ticket in. Who else do you think from the challengers that we know and love in the community, who do you think is going to punch their ticket in the following Challengers series to get their chance at the big stage?
That's almost impossible question to answer because everyone is so good at the challengers.
All right. Well, who do you think? Who do you think? Yeah, it doesn't.
My guess will be one between Sparty and CNZ, but you know, you also have Baxter, you, PRMV, FaZe, and so on. So it's like really, really tough to predict because it's also single elimination. So like, if you have a bad day, like.
Yeah, and we still have 3 world qualifiers, and then we have regional qualifiers too. So that does play into it a little bit. But yeah, a lot of killers in there. Is there anyone that people may not know about that's kind of a silent killer floating around just waiting for their opportunity?
Well, I think Kels for sure. Like, I didn't say his name, but Kels has been playing very well probably, and like last few weeks, months. And you know, it's like all these young players that want to like prove themselves. I think they put like more creativity on the line. And sometimes they they surprise the other players that are maybe more experienced because of it. And you know, you never know in Quake, to be honest. Like it's a really tough game. Like if someone is feeling it during the day, they can just win.
Awesome. Thanks for your insight. Appreciate it very much. And congrats again,
man.
Thank you.
Good job, mate. Have a good one.
You too, guys.
Yeah.
Take care.
It's kind of wild to hear Venger say that Quake is a hard game, because when I read chat week to week, like they make it seem like it's really easy. I don't know. It's yeah.
You read chat and everyone in there's a pro and they know what to do. So yeah, it's amazing that we don't see them in the league. I don't get it.
Man, someone's got to bust chat's balls every once in a while, right?
Who better than the legend? Anyways, we're done for today. That's unfortunately all the Quake we have. We've had an action-packed day here for week 3, but that's going to be it for us. So, Wheat, it's always a pleasure. Lethal, it's a pleasure. PGL, thank you, production.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, I'm still therapy bills coming to you. PGL, everybody behind the scenes, chat, everybody, thanks for all the copy pasta and shit posting. We do appreciate it sometimes. And big shouts to the players, week in, week out, putting in the sweat, putting in the work. We are going to build towards the grand finals weeks away. And don't forget, challengers are coming up as well. Check the websites, check the socials. We're out of here. Have a great weekend. Be safe and be kind to one another.